Look at that gloss and shine. Look how bright that red is. It's gorgeous. Steering column, tilt steering column. All ready to go back together. In this episode, we took apart our steering column and found some bad bearings in it. Ordered some new ones, so this is just gonna be part 1 of 2 where we're gonna take this thing apart, show you how this tilt steering column disassembles, and we prepped it, getting it all refurbished, getting it good as new to go back and pristine. If you're interested in seeing how we got this done this weekend, stay tuned. Alright, welcome back. Bill with Restoring Christine. Christine on 56 Bel Air. She's behind me. I rolled her out of the garage today because I'm going to be working on a bench. And what we're going to get into today is this steering column. So I've got an aftermarket steering column that Christine has always had since I've had her. And it's not an I did it column. I don't know what brand it is, but we're going to go over that. And what I need to do is I need to take it apart. Because in episode 2, very start of this restoration, after I stripped all the parts off of Christine, I sent her off to be media blasted. And that media blast material got hung up in the steering column. And because the steering column, or because we had to drive the car around on and off the trailer and whatnot, so she had to have a steering column in, there's sand and grit in it. So I'm going to take it apart, and that's a little bit of a learning process, but then I'm going to go ahead and refinish it. I'm going to paint it with the same GM Pull Me Over Red. That's an Exalta product that I'm going to spray it with, and we'll do that today. We'll get all that done, but let's get into it. All right, so there's my steering column partially disassembled. It's a tilt steering column. And because I went and looked at the I Did It identification videos, they say that their collar, this is where the column shift would have been. Christine was always a 3-speed manual from the factory, but she's 4-speed manual with 4 on the floor since I've had it. So the column shift was tossed out, and this tilt column is with no shifter. So this is for the floor shift model. And Christine, has got a Hurst shifter for her 4-speed. So I don't know what brand this is, but it's not an I Did It column. I had a Grant steering wheel, and I did not do a good job of trying to keep this in good shape from getting beat up since it's been laying around the garage. I'm still debating on what I want to do with this wheel, if I want to keep it, if I want to replace it. I got the horn button. So I just want to show you a couple of quick things. And one is this wiring harness that's in here. You notice it comes through this little section. Well, this little slot, as best I can tell from every video and every picture I've ever looked at, is like this thing is supposed to come through right there. So this should have been buried inside of the column, and it's not. So the wiring harness is kind of like exposed. I'm probably going to have to take, when I take this apart, I'll be able to take the wiring harness maybe and unplug the pins and feed it through and then do something with that and get that to where this at least this section of cable that's exposed right underneath the dash is not so visible. So taking it apart, this was a hard part I tried to figure out, but there's a snap ring, there's a little round C-clip that goes all the way around here, and it fits in like a collar. So this is on a spring-loaded mechanism. This is spring-loaded, and what I use is 2 clamps to go ahead and clamp this here and pull this. I pull this snug, and when I did that here and here, and then on the other side, when I did that, then I was able to take a scratch awl or a pointed tool, a couple of pointed tools, and I use these to pull that little C-clip, and now that C-clip is loose. So now I'll be able to get this apart. But that's where I'm at with it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue taking this apart and then show you the next step. All right, the first trick is to get the blinker mechanism loose, and there's 3 screws with a Phillips head, and they're 3 different lengths. 1, 2, 3. This is on the center shaft that held everything else together. But now, once you get in here, then this one had a Torx head screw that was back here, and that's the only thing holding this collar on. So now I've got that off. I can pull this collar off, and look at all the sand grit. Look at all of this. This is what I'm trying to get rid of. I can hear that all in this mechanism. So this is the tilt, and now I need to get this collar off and then figure out how to get this further apart. So here's the next step that appears to be universal for all tilt columns. There's a big heavy spring here, so I've got the column tilted open to take as much pressure off the spring, and I used a paint can opener because it's got a hooked end. and I went and I grabbed the spring and I tilted that spring up. I pried it and took some pressure off of it, and this little cup indents and then turns a quarter inch, and I mean a quarter turn, and then it comes out. And so that's where I'm at now, is trying to get this spring off of here, and if I can get the spring off of here, I'll be able to get all of this undone. All right, so I was trying to take, there's 4 bolts back here that are holding something in, and I thought that was the trick, but I could barely get to them, and they're star point, and it's the same size as a quarter inch, so I got a quarter inch socket that I have in there. But really the trick is, apparently this looks like an 832 thread, and it goes into this pin, and there's another pin on the other side, and you need to pry these out. So I'm going to try to take these out with a vice grip, and they just apparently just press out. So let's see if we can get them. All right, I got them both out. Here's the one on the other side, and it came out the same way. Just put the screw in it, put the vice grip on it, and then use a plier to pry against here and pop it out. Well, I've realized that before I can go too far, I've got to get these wires out of here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to release these from the terminal pins, and I took a picture to make sure I've got this in order, and I've looked at a few videos and it's all the same. It's white, green, yellow, brown, white, green, yellow, purple, brown, blue, light blue, and then black. So you just need to find which side of these two is the little connector, the little thing. I'm taking a paper clip, and you just pull on it as you pry that little tab, and you can see you can get you in on that. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little tong right here, and that's what you're trying to, you take the paper clip and you just slip it in the middle and depress that little tong, and that'll allow this to pull out. So I don't know which side they're on. They seem like maybe they're on this back side. You can kind of feel. All right, a little bit of patience is all it took, but I got them all, and they're all now ready to come sliding out this way. So if I can get this out, then we'll be on our way. I've been saying that though. I got so many different pieces, parts to take apart. And then I got to get all this back together. You know, taking it apart is one thing. You can horse it, but then getting it back together is another thing in its entirety. So now, there we go. That's out. Now I've seen some videos that have said that this is supposed to go in the shaft and come out of here, and some people say, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to run it out this way, and they run it that way, and I'm going to try to come out this way because I know that's the way this was designed, so we're going to do it like that. Let me continue working on it. Oh, one more thing while I got you zoomed in here, you can see there was a bearing on the front, and here's the whole track, the race and the bearing, and then there's another one back here where the knuckle pivot, so there's a universal joint inside of here. It's a ball fitting that has the main shaft and then the little extension that hooks the steering wheel to it. All right, so once I got the wire harness out, this upper part pulled off. So now this, it looks like whoever had this this column originally put in, and you can tell by this that they painted it with it, they tilted it up and then tilted it down, and because they've got some holidays in here where it was tilted. But I noticed that my lower bearing race that goes down here is busted. So it's here, and there is sand grit everywhere. So this is the right thing to do, to take it apart. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to repair that that race. I don't know if I can find another one. I don't know. We'll see. But let me go ahead and continue on. The main thing that I wanted to get to is there are four Torx bolts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if ever you've had a tilt column that is jiggled, those are the 1, 2, 3, 4 that you need to tighten in order to take that wobble out. And the mid-70s GM factory columns, those things loosened up all the time. And that's where all the slop is. It's always right there, but you got to get this far into the column in order to get rid of it. Well, I wish I would have just videoed that. But the column, I noticed that the column was loose, so I pulled on it to see if there was anything on this end that was holding it in. It didn't. It just went zzz, it just slid right out. So now I've got the joint, universal joint, the upper shaft where the two bearings ride, the steering wheel, and then the lower half with the D collar and the pin that goes to the rag joint assembly to the rest of my steering column. All right, when it came down to it, I got the two bearings out, They're identical. Here's a tilt mechanism, and one goes at the top, the other one goes right underneath and on the bottom. They're only a couple of inches apart, separating these two bearings, an upper and a lower. So they're all high. Part of the race stays in this housing. Then the other part is a bearing spacer. It's a plastic part. And then there's the inner race. And the inner, there's two of these. So the other one is press fit, or it's slipped already over the shaft, and the other one comes in from this direction, so they pinch right there. But this is a 1-inch diameter, 14 ball bearings, and I tried finding it. I went online, and it's not a factory column, but it looks like everybody's using factory parts to make these columns. So the difference might be between metric and non-metric. So I measured all this, and what I have, I believe, is non-metric. So I found something on a Corvette website that has the bearings for $18, and everybody else has got them for sky high, like $75, you know, for like a whole kit. Comes with a spring, and comes with a whole bunch of other parts that I don't need. I just needed 2 bearings. So I ordered them, and I'm hoping they're going to be here in a few days. And as soon as I clicked order, it says allow 12 to 14 days for delivery. Great. So I'm going to have to finish this up. I'm going to try to get this steering column cleaned up, painted, get all parts set on the side, and ready to be reassembled as soon as those bearings come in. So let's get rolling. Got everything disassembled, and I'm down to 4 paintable parts. The column itself, the shaft, the tilt mechanism, which just has this little ring that gets exposed. It's like right there. And then the housing that houses the entire assembly. And then the cup that goes underneath the steering wheel. So all these have like this gray. That's actually bare metal. That's from when it was media blasted. But I need to now take my time and sand all this, get it ready to paint. Then I'll prime it. And that's what we're going to do now. So let's get after it. All right, I'm going to be shooting Axalta Rival single stage with the Rival RV135 hardener, activator, and my Concourse detail gun. There it is, all 4 pieces painted. Man, it looks really good. Let me get you right up on top of it. I mean, it looks beautiful. You know, my this didn't look nearly this good when Christine was rolling previously. This is going to be nice. And then when I do the wires, you know, the wires were up here, and then I'm going to pull them back through this original factory hole. That's where they should be coming through. Collar. Look at that shine. It's gorgeous. Love it. But that's going to do it. All right. It's actually late in the day. I had a lot of work that I did today. Didn't get as far as I thought. I thought I'd be painting this and assembling it and la-da, but here we go. It's gonna be 2 episodes. So the next episode will be reassembling this. Hopefully if I get those bearings in, but that's gonna do it. So I do hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the channel, I'd love a subscription. So until I see you next time, please take care of yourself. Cheers.